What if, in the middle of an ordinary dinner party, you suddenly realized the people sitting across from you might not actually be the friends you arrived with? Not because they changed, but because reality itself quietly shifted around you. That's the terrifying idea behind Coherence, a film that proves you don't need monsters or explosions to create unforgettable horror. All you need is one strange night, one passing comet, and a single decision that nobody can undo. At first, Coherence feels almost deceptively simple. There are no elaborate futuristic machines, no secret laboratories, and no dramatic explanation of how the impossible works. Instead, the film invites us into an ordinary evening where a small group of friends gather for dinner, joking, catching up, and talking about everyday life. The camera feels intimate, the conversations overlap naturally, and everything seems almost too normal. That choice isn't accidental. By making the beginning feel so familiar, the filmmakers quietly lower your guard, making the events that follow feel disturbingly believable. One detail immediately stands out. Before anyone reaches the dinner table, strange things begin happening around them. Phones crack without explanation. Small coincidences start piling up. Nobody panics because each event, on its own, seems harmless. That's one of the film's smartest tricks. Instead of announcing that something is wrong, it allows uneasiness to grow through tiny moments that are easy to dismiss. Just like the characters, the audience keeps searching for logical explanations, and that's exactly what the film wants us to do. The passing comet becomes the story's silent catalyst. Throughout history, comets have often been associated with change, uncertainty, and events beyond human control. Whether you view that as science or symbolism doesn't really matter. What matters is how the characters respond. They don't fear the comet itself. They fear the uncertainty that follows it. The film understands something deeply human. People can handle bad news far better than they can handle not knowing what's happening. This is where Coherence separates itself from most science fiction films. The mystery isn't built around complicated technology. It's built around trust. How well do you really know the people closest to you? And if reality itself became unreliable, what evidence would convince you that your own memories are still real? Those questions quietly begin to replace the comfort of the opening dinner, turning casual conversations into moments loaded with suspicion. As the night progresses, the house slowly transforms from a place of friendship into a psychological maze where every decision carries consequences nobody fully understands. The audience doesn't yet know the rules, and neither do the characters. That shared confusion creates an unusual kind of tension. Instead of waiting for a monster to appear, you're waiting for reality itself to break. And when the group finally decides to step outside to investigate what's happening in the darkness, they unknowingly cross a line that changes everything. The most unsettling thing about Coherence isn't the mystery itself. It's how quickly ordinary people begin to question everything they thought they knew. The film understands a simple truth about human nature. We don't need monsters to become afraid. Sometimes, uncertainty is enough. Once doubt enters the room, every conversation starts to feel different, every glance carries hidden meaning, and even the people you've trusted for years suddenly become impossible to read. This is where the movie quietly shifts genres. What begins as a science fiction mystery slowly transforms into a psychological experiment. The strange events happening outside are certainly important, but they're not the real source of tension. The real danger comes from what those events do to the people inside the house. Every new uncertainty chips away at their confidence until fear begins filling the gaps where logic used to exist. It's fascinating because the audience experiences the same emotional journey. We aren't given all the answers, so we're forced to make assumptions, and those assumptions constantly change as the story develops. One of the film's greatest strengths is that it refuses to treat confusion as a weakness. Instead, confusion becomes the storytelling engine. Most movies reward viewers with quick explanations whenever something impossible happens. Coherence does the opposite. Every answer seems to create two new questions. Rather than frustrating the audience, this technique encourages active participation. You're no longer simply watching the film unfold. You're investigating it alongside the characters, searching every conversation and every decision for clues that might explain what's really happening. Another detail that often goes unnoticed is how naturally the dialogue feels. People interrupt each other. Conversations overlap. Characters hesitate before answering simple questions. None of this feels accidental. It creates the impression that we're observing real people instead of actors delivering carefully rehearsed lines. That realism becomes incredibly important because once reality itself starts feeling unstable, even the smallest change in someone's behavior becomes suspicious. A brief pause, a forgotten detail, or an unexpected reaction suddenly carries enormous weight. What makes this approach so effective is that the movie never tells us who deserves our trust. It simply places everyone inside the same impossible situation and allows fear, confusion, and self-preservation to shape their decisions. In moments like these, The film asks a question that's much bigger than science fiction. When certainty disappears, do we become the best version of ourselves, or the worst? And as the night grows stranger, that question becomes far more personal than anyone around the dinner table could have imagined.